Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to discuss about one more content. Okay, before entering into the topic, just I want to ask you few questions. Suppose if there is a bus or a car when suddenly starts, then what happened to the passengers who are there in the bus or car? Means they will fall backward direction. Why they will fall backward direction? This is the first question. And second question, suppose if there is a bus or a car which is going forward with speed, it may be either 80 km per hour or 60 km per hour, the driver stops the vehicle suddenly, then what happens? We will fall forward direction. Why we will fall forward direction? What is the reason? Second question. And third question, okay, if there is a guard road, nothing but there is a sharp turn, okay, when there is a sharp turn, driver apply force on the steering to take turn, then what happened the passengers who are there in the vehicle? They will lean away from the direction of the vehicle. What is the reason behind it? And next question. Suppose if you want fruits from a tree, then what you will do means there is nothing material to hit it directly. Then what you will do means you will shake the tree. What happened to the fruits? They will fall down. What is the reason behind of this? And one more question. Okay. And before taking long jump, athlete will run very fast. He runs very fast before taking long jump. What is the reason behind of this? Okay, in order to identify all these, we need to understand one concept, that is Newton's laws of motion. In that, Newton's laws of motion we have three. What are they? First one, Newton's first law of motion. Second, Newton's second law of motion. And third, Newton's third law of motion. Today we are going to discuss about Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion is also called as law of inertia. Why we call it a law of inertia? We'll discuss in the topic. What is inertia in this? Okay, right now. Newton's first law of motion. This Newton's first law of motion, suppose when you are traveling in the bus or a vehicle or any other, then what you will observe means you will observe side, you can find stones, trees, buildings or vehicles and different you can find. What is the position of all these objects? Daily, if you are passing daily in that road, what happened to the position of that? They are at rest. Suppose you are in the classroom, you can observe different objects like benches, table, board and different objects. What are the position? What is the position of all these objects in the classroom? You can find some of the objects are changing their position, some of the objects are remains in the same position. Benches, board, different objects, they are at rest in their position. Okay, and one more point. Suppose if you observe planets, satellites, they are moving around, revolving around the sun with uniform motion. Why they are revolving around the sun with the uniform motion? What is the reason behind of that? Okay, this is second point. And coming to third, suppose if a body is moving in a straight direction. For example, a person hitting the ball with the bat or else football, a person playing football, he will kick with the leg. Then what is the direction of the ball? It will go in straight direction. While playing carrom board also you can find coins are moving in a straight direction. Okay, and you can find what is the direction of the object, means which is going in a straight direction. Okay, if you observe carefully here, the objects which you can find in rest position, some of the objects which are in uniform motion, some of the objects which are going in a straight direction, until what they will be remains, until external agent is acting, then they remains at rest. If there is no force acting, they remains at rest. If there is a force acting, then there will be a change. Okay, here on basis of this we are getting one point. We are getting the definition of Newton's first law of motion. What is Newton's first law of motion? According to Newton's first law of motion, the object is at rest, remains at rest. The object is in motion, remains in uniform motion only. Object is moving in a straight direction, it will continue in the direction only, until and unless external net force is acting. If there is no net force acting, then it will be remains at rest. If there is a force acting, then it will change its position. Okay, according to Newton's first law of motion, the object is at rest, remains at rest. Object is in motion, remains in uniform motion. Object is moving in a direction, it will continue in the direction until and unless external net force is acting. This is Newton's first law of motion. Okay, and right now coming to one more point. Suppose I am considering two objects. One is small block or a stone. Second one is huge rock. This is 10 kilogram, and here it is, I am taking it as 100 kilogram. 10 kilogram block and 100 kilogram block I am considering. Here I am applying force on these two blocks, which is easy to change the position. Same amount of force I am exerting. I am applying same amount of force. Then what happens? Which will move? Means definitely you will say 10 kilogram will move first. Okay, and if you increase the force, then 100 kilogram. Nothing but here you need to understand one point. What is that? Means 10 kilogram block is easy to move its position, whereas 100 kilogram block is exerting some amount of force on you. Here which is also acting, but which is less. Here this is also acting, but here it will be more. Here the resisting of motion of this object is more. Here this is also resisting, which is less. Okay, here we need to apply large amount of force. Here we need to apply less amount of force. Nothing but I'll give you one more example for this. Suppose if you consider grandfather or grandmother, they are unable to stand themselves. What we will do? We need to apply large amount of force to make them to stand. Okay, but themselves they can't stand. Here itself this object won't change its position. If it wants to change its position, it needs less force. Here this requires large amount of force. The tendency of this body is more. The tendency of the body is less. I think that I am going to give you one point. What is that means? The tendency of the body. Here it requires more amount of force. Here it requires less amount of force. The tendency of a body continue in its state. Either it may be at rest or it may be in uniform motion. Here the body is at rest. It wants to be remains at rest. If a body is moving in uniform motion, it wants to be in uniform motion. If a body is moving in a straight direction, it wants to continue in the direction until and unless external agent is acting. Nothing but here it is giving you one point. What is that? Means the tendency of a body continue in its state of rest or in uniform motion or moving in a straight direction, that we are calling it as inertia. The tendency of a body which is giving you inertia. On what factor this inertia depends? Mass is the measure of inertia. Mass is the measure of inertia. If mass is more, inertia is more. Mass is less, inertia is less. 100 kilogram, 10 kilogram, which is having more inertia, means 100 kilogram is having more inertia, whereas 10 kilogram having less inertia. Inertia again divides into 3 types. 1. Inertia of rest. Second, inertia of motion. And third, inertia of direction. These are the 3 types of inertia. Inertia of rest, inertia of motion, inertia of direction. Okay. Here, inertia of rest. What do you mean by inertia of rest? Inertia of rest is nothing but the tendency of a body continue in its state of rest until and unless external force is acting or net force is acting. Examples for inertia of rest. Here, all the objects wants to be at rest in your classroom, or else here you can observe board. This is also which is at rest. Nothing but all the objects want to be at rest until and unless external net force is acting. A person who is sitting in the vehicle, then what happened? The person, when bus suddenly starts, he will fall backward direction. Why he is falling backward direction? Means this is due to inertia of rest. Okay. And fruit tree example. If you shake the tree, what happens to the fruits? They will fall down. What is the reason behind of this? Means which is inertia of motion. Okay. And coming to third, inertia of direction. All the objects wants to be continue in its direction until and unless external force is acting. While playing carrom board, or else while playing cricket, or while playing football, what they will do means, suppose while playing football, then what they will do means they will apply force which is coming towards the person. Then what happens to the ball? It changes its direction and going in another direction. If you are going in a straight direction in the vehicle, if you are applying a force on the steering, so that you can change the direction of motion of the object. Okay, nothing but here there is no force is acting. All the objects wants to be at rest, and moving objects continue in the direction, continue in the motion, and all the objects which are going in a straight direction, it will continue in the direction itself. Okay, this is about Newton's first law of motion. So that this we are calling it as Newton's law of inertia. Okay, and here Newton's first law of motion, only it is giving you only the definition of force.